welcome to another multiplayer replay thing on Total War Warhammer with me, Squawker. And this time it's a 2 versus 2 once more, because once more, yeah, those are really common. So let's just without further ado get into it. So the factions on show today are, I am playing as the Beastmen, my ally is playing as Warriors of Chaos, and our enemies today are the Greenskins and the Norskins. So let's just jump into it, get through these faction builds, and then just get this battle underway. So, at the front of my line, I have 3 units of regular old Ungor Raiders, just Vanguard deployed, so we can just start getting a move on. And then bringing up behind them, I've got units of Gore Herds, just with the double hand axe. Just so they do big damage, hit hard, obviously they're not very survivable though. Leading my army in the centre, I have Morgher the Dark Omen, or really not Morgher, Malagor. I know they sound very much like Malagor the Dark Omen with the Law of the Wild, I believe, or it's the Law of Beasts. It's one of the two. It's the Beasts one, I know. But yeah, he's leading my army today. He's basically who I use when I'm not using Morgher. And then on my flanks, I have 2 units of Ungor Spear Herds, not using shields, however, because I was just being cheap. So I could afford to have 2 units of Minotaurs. Got 1 shielded unit over there, and then, well, actually they're both shielded. These guys will just have a nice little defense against arrows and just a little bit more survivability than the unshielded ones. Obviously it comes at a trade to less damage, but these are Minotaurs, but do high damage anyway, so yeah. And then on my back line, I have 3 units of Bestigors with great weapons, ready to just do lovely big damage, or at least, well, it doesn't say great weapons, but look, they've got big axes. You may as well say great weapons. But I do also have Koroks Man Rippers, as I always bring in my Beastmen armies, just for that nice big anti-large bonus. So as for my ally, who's playing Warriors of Chaos, he's got a front line of Chaos Warriors, and he's got a Dragon Ogre Shagoth. Leading his army, he has Sarathel the Everwatcher, who I don't know how to unlock, but I'm guessing you have to beat a campaign or something. Really, really weird, creepy guy, this person. Yeah, to be honest, I don't like looking at him, so we're just going to stop looking at him now. But he's also got the Regiment of Renown version of the Chaos Spawn, which is a weird spawn. These guys, as far as my knowledge remembers, these guys are armor sundering as well as just generally frenzied. So these guys can just basically lower the armor of anything they attack, so that's always useful. They've also got some great weapon Chaos Warriors for just doing the extra damage, as well as halberds for dealing with for dealing with large. Another unit of great weapons and another unit of halberds. And then in his back he's got Aspiring Champions and the Demon Spew, which are Poisonous Forsaken. So that's our builds done. So he's basically brought a rather standard Chaos build, but with some nice anti-armor buffs to it. I've brought a sort of basically a standard beast build, really. Bits of anti-large, damage dealing, obviously not very well armoured, but also some monstrous stuff. Then again, I think I bring less monsters than a lot of beast players do. So let's have a look at our enemies as well. So our enemies, mainly for Greenskins, who I'm going to be facing off first things first. So we've got 3 units of Orc Biggins in the front. So these are heavy hitting orcs. Obviously they have the anti-large thing, which isn't going to be too useful for them apart from dealing with my Minotaurs. Then in his back he's got 3 units of Black Orcs. And if he was fighting off the Warriors of Chaos, these guys would be in their element, but they're not. They're fighting the non-armoured Beastmen, which means their damage is going to be a little bit weakened this time around, which might give me a nice little edge. And then he's also got a Giant, just for dealing with me probably. Some Night Goblin Archers. These are the non-fanatical ones though, so they don't have access to the Whirling Loons. But he does have a Goblin Doom Diver Catapult, which is always annoyingly accurate. And the Broken Tusks mobs, which are just a herd of Boy Biggins. Very good anti-large units for these, and I can't really remember what else we do. And leading, he has Azag the Slaughterer upon Skull Muncher once more. And as you can see right now, he's holding position and he's waiting for my Ungor Raiders to approach. So while that's happening, let's have a quick talk through Norsca's build. In the middle, he has the Brutes of the Hound, which are very tough Marauder Berserker units. And then backing over, he's got 2 units of regular Marauders. Frog's leading the army, so he's got access to his Copious Vomit, as well as just being a general troll. And he's also got a Skin Wolf Werkin helping him out. He's got 2 units of Fimir Warriors, and then, actually he has 3 units of Fimir Warriors, and one's just lurking over here. And then in his back he's got some Marauder Spears, 2 of which he has, and also 2 Great Weapon Marauders. So he skimped on his mainline infantry, just so he could bring extra Marauders basically, but he also has a hero and some Berserkers. So Once more, probably a mid to low level Norscan army here. Probably mid-level actually. Nothing too special, but at the same time, enough to do some damage. And if he can take advantage of the morale penalties Chaos seems to frequently have whenever Chaos are present, he should do fine. So Norska is just taking the initiative and basically going all out. He's just making his move and getting ready to face off the Chaos Warriors. Meanwhile over here, the Doom Divers are just beginning to attack me as my lines begin to advance. So basically doing what he can to just start wearing down my Bestigor herd. Or, well, these are just regular Gors, but my Bestigors are on their way, as well as the Man Rippers. Already getting my spears on the flank as well. Nothing really large to worry about though. The only really large units to be worrying about are Azhag, the Giant, the Boar Boys, and then the Fimir Warriors. But I don't think Fimir Warriors count as large anyway, so in fact there isn't really a lot of anti-large use in my armies, but once more, even if there isn't that much large, anti-large can still be used as, you know, support, flanking, and all sorts of lovely stuff. But Doom Diver is just getting right in there, trying to hit what he can. So really, if there's a Doom Diver going for you, what you can do is just try and be maneuverable, because right now they're all just going in for it, and also just begin to start wearing down my Gore herd. Not really what I want to happen to my army. So I'm already going to start casting a few spells, just to basically let off one quick spell to start debuffing the greenskins. I believe that was just for damage one. But I should have access to my Beastman spell actually, or at least not my Beastman spell. Malagor should be able to summon a Cygor, and if I did that in a battle, then I was very clever, wasn't I? If I didn't, then what the hell was I thinking? Yeah, I seem to have amnesia when I play these battles, don't I? Anyway, so Ungor Raiders are now basically taking up position, getting ready to start firing on the enemy. Nothing really particularly for them to fire on, but I thought, right, just start working down those Night Goblin Fanatics or those Orc Biggins. Either one of them are just going to be a good target to start bringing down, basically. Night Goblin Archers have just basically come in. They've started to exchange fire. Nothing too special there, just general volleying. Let that initial thing go, but obviously I can't keep still forever because, well, one, my Ungors are dying and they're also beginning to waver. Two, that Doom Diver catapult's just going to keep it getting in my way. As you can see, Doom Diver's just decided that my Minotaur be now a suitable target. Luckily that one missed. Other Doom Divers coming in, and he missed as well. But he knew what he was doing. Meanwhile, over here as well, Malagor had summoned his Cygor to help him out, and well, this enemy wasn't a perfect formation for a Cygor to do damage, so I thought, right, just start wearing down those Black Orcs. They're big, they're bad, and they're probably going to take a lot of killing, so just have a Cygor start wearing them down for me. Also uncovered hidden troops, but, well, they don't count because I knew they were there anyway. But as you can see, Cygor's just having a go at it. His accuracy wasn't really on top of it though. And also over here, Norska and Chaos had finally clashed. Weird Spawn got right in there, started attacking the Fimir Warriors, which is probably the best thing for them to target, really, since Fimir Warriors are somewhat armoured. Also, the Chaos Warriors had just crashed into the majority of the Norskans. Some of them were using the lovely big great weapons though, which meant they did have a slight bonus against the Chaos Warriors because of anti-armor stuff, but at the same time, these guys are tough Chaos Warriors, and there's also that really ugly guy over there who, I'm sorry, I just don't like it whenever he's in my view. Meanwhile over here, Azhag had begun moving, but I targeted my Ungor Raiders just to start trying to shoot him down. More shots I got into him, the less of an issue he would be. Kind of still having nightmares about that other battle I had with Azhag, where he just kept ruining everything for me and I was playing Beastmen. So I thought, right, just start shooting him. It keeps Azhag slowed down, and also it means my Ungors, or my Gors, if I want to be accurate for once, could just move in and start hitting up these big uns. It's going to be a fairly even battle here. The prizes probably would be going mainly to the big uns. I know the big uns are really more of an anti-large unit, but big uns just seem to hit a little harder, and they just have a little bit more survivability. But then again, since I went for the double axes, my damage output was higher, which meant I was just getting that little bit of a slight advantage over the big uns. Over here as well, I brought my spears in. The Broken Tusks mob had been trying to move around, but I suspect that the enemy wasn't micromanaging very well, so that meant I could just get in. And also, someone had cast a shadow spell here. I don't think that was me, by the way. I think that was actually my ally doing that if he had a sorcerer. Or, well, a vortex just shows up whenever it wants to. Still, it had killed off a lot of enemies, but I was just popping off whatever spells I had access to as well. Mainly now it's because popping off Devolve, which is just good for doing a little bit of damage, but it's also just keeping sapping at the leadership of the enemy, which is always something useful to have, because my leadership had gone down. As you can see, I was losing a few units, but since my Bestigors were in the battle, I wasn't too worried. Could bring my Bestigors in now. Chaos, on the other hand, they seem to be doing quite well against the enemy. As you can see, a guy who I'm just not going to look at today is having a fun time with it. The Dragon Ogre Shoggoth had got into combat now, and, well, while he's just standing there not knowing what he's going to do, he does have his eyes set on Frog, and he's probably going to kill him, and oh god, he went into my camera again. Ugh, I just don't like looking at that guy. He's ugly. He doesn't look right. Meanwhile, over here, I'd also set my Minotaurs just to bowl over the Broken Tusks mob. I know the Broken Tusks would have a bonus against my my guys anyway, but since these guys just went into a rout fairly quickly, I could get away with it. Even my Minotaurs were being a bit weird with their random bowling overs. But now they were free to just basically move into the enemy flank now, since the enemy was not protecting them with anything that's anti-large or anti-Minotaur, so yeah. But my Bestigors have finally arrived. I know I'm spamming that slow motion button, but I just want to see this shit, don't I? I mean, this is a showcase, really. I get to just see these lovely Bestigors. I mean, yeah, they're taking fire from those Night Goblin archers, which had managed to strategically retreat to the back of the army, but I knew these guys should beat the big guns. The Gore Herd did have a decent time against the big guns, though they did lose eventually, but as you can see, yeah. Big guns were just getting swamped by the Gore Herd. They were, well, Bestie Gore Herd. Jeez, I just cannot get a unit name right ever, can I? But as you can see, that big gun, well, his head's gone, so yeah, I was ripping heads off, and obviously my man rippers were still waiting for their opportunity to get involved. I was keeping them away for the minute just because I was wary of where Azhag might go, as well as the Giant. I just wanted to keep them in reserve because, well, if there was anything I learned from a few previous battles is just keep things in reserve. Sometimes you don't bring out your best things instantly. Start weak, then keep buffing it up. Unfortunately, the world's ugliest legendary lord had just passed away. Frog had seen that he was killed. Weird Spawn as well were just beginning to lose. While Weird Spawn were rout, they don't last forever. And I decided to just quickly chuck up a spell there, just to give him a hand really, and just to try and bring down Frog. Didn't seem to do a lot, but it was always worth a help. But just because I was nice and I was helping out my Chaos ally, who was beginning to lose his engagement a little bit, I brought in the Man Rippers and the Ungor Spears just to keep an eye on the flanks, since I didn't want the Fimir Warriors to suddenly break in and start causing me a lot of trouble. Because over here I was trying to get Azhag killed at long last. My Minotaurs had basically broken into the flanks, getting ready to just basically charge in. They had a lovely rear charge on these Black Hawks, so they're already revving themselves up. Just getting ready for that charge order. I issued the order. And, well, 3, 2, 1. Black Hawks are gonna get wrecked. Like so. I have to say, I absolutely love that one charge animation, actually. I just love it when these guys just somersault right into battle and just, well, the Black Hawks were just sent flying, basically. I mean, look at him. It's a whole new experience for that poor little Black Hawk, isn't it? Off he goes, flying away. And yeah, that Black Hawk had tried to cut off my Minotaur's leg, but he missed. Which, well, yeah. You can't really predict where a Minotaur's going to land after he basically comes in and somersaults your entire unit from the rear, but it's that kind of momentum which gives Minotaurs the massive punch that they're known for. Cygor, on the other hand, was just about to exit the battle. His health had reached the end, because like any other summon unit, he does degenerate, so he'd done his part. He'd been useful to me. Black Hawks here, though, they'd managed to get to the flank of my Bestigors, who I'd failed to micro, and yep. Giant had also managed to wander off and was starting to cause chaos among my Ungors. Not really good for me, but at the same time, this wasn't really much of a problem for me. If a Giant was going to go and deal with the Ungors, then let the Giant deal with the Ungors, because that meant he was keeping away from my key special units, and I could just send something to deal with a Giant later, such as these lovely Man Rippers, who I was not just micromanaging very well, but I was basically using them to keep chaos away. Or at least not chaos, but the Norston type of chaos. Over here, Chaos had pulled themselves together, and they had won victory. As you can see, all that was left was Skip the Skin Wolf and Frog himself. I'd been throwing in any Gore herds that had come back. Malagor himself had also gotten involved. I'd been popping off spells and just basically using him for general morale presence. You know, he was just sitting there cheering my friends on, basically. But they were just going to get rid of Frog and the Werekin because I had the greenskins more or less wrapped at this point. As you can see, for just the momentum of my Minotaurs had just been absolutely brilliant once they'd gotten into the flank. My Ungors as well, they'd managed to get all the way around to the back of the enemy army. And while their morale basically broke instantly as they charged in, or they actually hadn't. These guys broke, but it was basically keeping the Black Hawks well off balance. They were going down, their morale was just about at the end of the day. Some of my warriors were fleeing, but Chaos had actually sent the Demon Spew to give me a hand. Azhag himself being, well, it wasn't the same guy who was using Azhag the last time I encountered Azhag, but yeah, I've noticed whenever people use Azhag, they're usually very reluctant to bring him into combat. He usually just hovers around, maybe pops off the occasional spell, since I do believe he has a few spells he can use, but it's very rare to see Azhag getting his hands dirty. Grimgor Ironhide he ain't. So, yeah. He was just hovering around, trying to wait for his opportunity, and really, I think that was just costing himself some greenskins. The Blackhawks were just about done, since I've been throwing puny, unarmoured targets at them, which they weren't going to do a lot of help against. Broken Tusk's mob had managed to get themselves back together. They were coming back in, trying to see what they could do. And they were thinking, oh yeah, look, there's the back of some Demon Spew and stuff. Maybe we can do something useful with them, but I was already on top of them. And I thought, right, Man Rippers, you're anti-large. Just, you know, you haven't really done a lot of this battle. You've just basically been standing around. Finish off with Broken Tusks. And finished off with Broken Tusks they did. They just went right in there. And before you knew it, these guys had broken again. And we're actually just pretty much dead. Only about 3 or 4 of them were left now. Well, 3 of them were... Well, no, 4 of them were left, actually. And they just basically rode off. So that was the last we were seeing of the Broken Tusks. Over there, greenskins were let down to the last 2 units. Just 1 unit of Night Goblin Archers, which to us wasn't doing well anyway. Those Blackhawks had been chased off by the Demon Spew. So, greenskins were out. Azhag himself had decided to go and try and find some easy pickings. So, he'd basically gone to assist in the killing of that Dragon Ogre Shoggoth who had finally fallen. But he thought he'd just give whatever was left with Norska a hand. Regroup, rearm, retrain or whatever. So whatever was left was on its way. Frog set his eyes on the rather weak Malagor, who at this point was pretty much expended. But yeah, got a big old hit in him. I basically threw everything I had at Frog just to keep Malagor safe. At this point in the battle, the winds of magic were more or less depleted actually, but I did need to keep him in the battle still, because I was popping off any abilities that would just help the winds regenerate, and also Malagor's presence was good for morale, so no point just letting him randomly die to Frog, who was now deciding he'd had enough. He started retreating. My Ungors were just trying to keep him away. Basically using my Ungors as flak now. Was keeping Malagor quite isolated though, and Azhag decided not to capitalise on it this time around, but as you can see, as per usual, he's just hovering around, waiting for his opportunity. But this was just the final crush now. I brought in the Man Rippers, the Minotaurs, there's Chaos Warriors, and all that was left to do was take out the Skin Wolf, take out whatever was left of the Fimir Warriors, and kill Frog. Frog at this point hadn't really bothered to use his copious vomit or anything, so he wasn't really the best used Frog in the world, I guess. But he was still having quite a lot of fun just taking out my weak Ungor units. But fine, let him take him out once more. He's wasting his time, he's wasting his stamina. While he's taking on the Ungors, these lovely Chaos Halberds are just going in there and they're just basically killing him to death. Over here, the Morka or Malagor was not in a good situation. Azhag had spotted him, as had the Skin Wolf, and they just went in, thought, right, we're gonna take out Malagor. Skin Wolf just went in and near enough did the job there and then actually, because yeah, I believe Malagor had died at this point. He'd got wiped out, didn't even get the notification. Azhag himself had joined him, but just as an act of vengeance, I threw everything in. Man Rippers and that just came in. Demon Spew had managed to turn up as well. And it actually ended up as a victory for us. So, yeah. Pyrrhic victory once more, though I feel like maybe this actually wasn't that Pyrrhic. I think I actually came out of this one okay this time around. Actually, this time around Malagor lived, which is very odd, because when I played this battle, I specifically remember Malagor dying, but oh well. I guess the replay changed it so he could have a happy ending for him. But actually, in the actual battle, Malagor did die. He was killed by Frog when he'd come out earlier, which is why I was throwing everything at Frog as a just as my last hurrah. But at the end of the day, we had won. I think the reason why we had won was the greenskins weren't protecting their flanks, which basically meant I could just basically get around their flanks and bring everything in. Also, I'd been a little smarter and left my best Gauls till last, let the regular Gauls just soften up the targets and then just let them go in. So you hear Frog is running off, he's getting chased off by my young Gauls. But I think I also had been quite smart in basically countering the Blackhawks. I think I have a feeling that the Greenskin was expecting to fight off the Chaos Warriors, which is why he brought so much anti-armor and was hoping that the Norskin would focus on me, because I feel like if the roles had been reversed, I fought the Norskins and Chaos fought the Greenskins, this would probably have been a defeat for us, but at the end of the day, it was a victory. Me and my ally were relatively well coordinated. We did help each other out. We didn't just like have two separate 1v1s going on next to each other, so yeah, teamwork can always get you a little bit of extra boost. But that's the end of that replay. Let's just have a quick look at some lovely numbers. As you can see, my losses were quite heavy. I'd lost over half my men, and what's more, any loss for Chaos is basically a big loss, and I just don't like looking at him. But yeah, the two enemy armies had basically been wiped out. They had very little left at the end of the day. Mainly the Azhag. Azhag had actually got a lot of kills, but it was so rarely in the battle. I think he killed more Chaos Warriors than he'd been killing of mine. Big guns did not do well at all because, well, they weren't really being thrown against large units. I was just throwing regular infantry at them. Blackhawks, two of them did absolutely abysmal. One of them did relatively okay, but two of them just did absolutely abysmal. Night Goblin Archers, they got their fair share of kills. Broken Tusks mobs, as you can see, they were completely ineffective in this battle. I basically countered them with my anti-large at every opportunity. Doom Diver, yeah, because it's artillery, it will get a few kills. The Giant as well, yeah, but I think the Giant wasn't being used on the right targets at the same time. He was just taking out my Ungor Raiders more than anything, and to be honest, my Ungors were being more used as a sacrificial unit, so yeah. And on my side, while Malagor himself hadn't had a lot of kills, so he'd obviously been doing his spell casting and all of that. There's no kill stat actually for my summoned Cygor, but I think I'd done a fair few kills. Spears, they did okay. Gore Herds didn't actually get a lot of kills either, but they were just basically used as my initial softening up and pinning force. Bestigors did a little better. Man Rippers didn't really do too well, but at the same time, as you saw, they did have some key moments. But my best units by far were the Minotaurs, and I think it was just the fact that the enemy's flanks were so poorly defended, which was why my Minotaurs were so effective in this battle. Meanwhile, Warriors of Chaos, Captain Ugly didn't get a lot of kills, but I think he was just doing all his spells. Chaos Warriors themselves got a lot of kills. Halberds their fair share. Well, the Great Weapons they got a lot. Halberds didn't get too many. However, the Demon Spew just absolutely cleaned house. They were pretty much fair every time a unit was breaking. Weird Spawn, they did very well. They lasted all the way to the end. And then the Dragon Ogre Shoggoth, yeah, probably could have been used a little bit better, but at the same time, he definitely did play a nice part in this one. But overall, a pretty clear victory in my opinion. Yeah, the game's going to call it Pyrrhic, but I'd say it's probably whatever comes above Pyrrhic. Close victory, I guess. Yeah, I'd say that. Because, yeah, I think the tactics were just on our side this time around. Anyway, I'll see you all on the next battle, my friends, for some, well, more battles. See you there.